A government owes more money than it could ever pay back. Trillions, with a T. More zeros than most people will see in a lifetime. And yet, nothing happens. No sirens, no creditors banging on doors, no sleepless nights at the Treasury. In fact, the government just keeps borrowing more. If you owed even 1% of that, you'd be panicking. So why aren't they? And more importantly, why does this matter right now? Because today, almost every major country on Earth is running this experiment at full speed. The US, Japan, Europe, even smaller economies. And the bill is getting very large. Let's start with a simple scene. Imagine you max out your credit card. Then you open another one. Then another. Eventually, the bank cuts you off. Your life changes. Governments don't play that game. They borrow. They roll the debt forward. They borrow again. And markets don't scream, stop. They line up and ask for more. That's the first uncomfortable truth. Government debt does not work like household debt. Not even close. When a government borrows money, it doesn't go to a bank and beg. It issues something called a bond. A bond is just a promise. Lend me money now, I'll pay you back later, plus interest. These bonds are sold at massive auctions. Pension funds buy them, insurance companies, banks, central banks, even foreign governments. Why? Because government bonds are treated as the safest thing in the financial system, the default backup plan. Not because governments are virtuous, but because they control something you don't, the currency. If you borrow in a currency you control, you can always create more of it. That doesn't mean it's painless. It means default is optional. This is where the story turns. Most government debt isn't meant to be paid off. It's meant to be rolled over. Old bonds mature, new bonds replace them. The debt stays, time moves on. In the US, for example, trillions of dollars in bonds mature every single year. The government doesn't find that money. It issues new bonds to pay off the old ones. It's refinancing on an industrial scale. As long as investors believe the system keeps running, they keep buying. This is the quiet deal. You don't dump our bonds, we don't break the system. Everyone benefits until they don't.
Explain a powerful system calmly, like someone who understands it deeply and isn't trying to impress, only to reveal how strange it really is. Now let's talk about the math people avoid. Debt only becomes scary when it grows faster than the economy that supports it. If your economy grows 5% a year and your debt grows 3%, the burden actually shrinks. That's the trick. Growth does most of the heavy lifting. Inflation helps too. This is the part no one likes to say out loud. Inflation quietly reduces the real value of old debt. If you borrowed money when a dollar was strong and pay it back when a dollar buys less, you've effectively paid less. Creditors hate this. Governments tolerate it. Sometimes they rely on it. That's why moderate inflation is often treated like a feature, not a bug. Now here's the absurd part. The more debt a government issues, the more the financial system depends on it. Banks need government bonds as collateral. Pension funds need them for stability. Central banks use them to control interest rates. So when people say the debt is too high, markets often respond by buying more of it, because there's no real alternative at that scale. This creates a strange paradox. High debt doesn't cause panic. Loss of trust does. What actually keeps governments up at night isn't the number, it's the interest rate. When rates are low, debt feels light. When rates rise, everything tightens. Every percentage point increase means billions more just to service the debt, not to build roads, not to fund schools, just to keep the promise alive. That's where today gets dangerous. For over a decade, governments lived in a low-rate world, cheap money, easy refinancing. Debt felt invisible. Then inflation came back. Rates rose. Suddenly, the cost of carrying old debt jumped fast. This is where the illusion starts cracking, not because governments can't print money, but because printing money too aggressively breaks trust in the currency itself. That's the real red line. Not bankruptcy, credibility. If investors believe a government will inflate away its debt, they demand higher interest, or they leave. That feedback loop is brutal. Higher rates mean higher costs. Higher costs mean more borrowing. More borrowing raises doubts. This is how calm turns into crisis. History is full of examples, not instant collapses, slow ones. Years of this is fine, then one bad auction, one political shock, one loss of confidence, and suddenly sleeping at night becomes very hard. So why do governments still look relaxed? Because for now, the system still believes in itself. The economy is still large enough. The currency is still trusted. The bonds are still wanted. Debt, in this context, isn't a ticking bomb. It's a balancing act. But balances don't fail gradually. They fail suddenly. And here's the final uncomfortable thought. If paying off all government debt tomorrow were possible, it would likely crash the economy. Trillions pulled out of circulation, safe assets gone, financial plumbing broken. The system isn't designed for zero debt. It's designed to manage it, delay it, reshape it. Which leads to the real question. If governments aren't trying to eliminate debt, if markets don't actually demand it, and if inflation quietly does part of the job, what exactly is the limit? Is it a number, a percentage, or just the moment people stop believing the story? That's the part no one can calculate, and that's why governments sleep at night. Until they don't.
Thank you for watching my full video.